Good morning. I'm John Spadaccini with Career Services.
And I'm Michael O'Donnell with Mother Teresa Project.
And today is day 11, Spouse of the Mother of God.
Pray for us. Today, I thought the two words that we focus on, youthful virtue. That's what Father Calloway kind of directs today's reflection on. And it reminded me of Jason Everett has a talk on called Detox, where he goes into the reasons why St. Joseph was a young man. Now, we just read Fulton Sheen, who gives a great explanation. St. Jose Maria Escriva also gives a wonderful explanation. I think Mother Angelica has a quote in there about why St. Joseph must have been young. And usually traditional art paints him as an elderly man, in the idea that it protected the virginity of Mary. But now we kind of are switching that idea and turning it, because I think so many young men and young women need somebody to look up to. And having St. Joseph as a young man makes him so relatable. So Jason Everett goes on, and what he adds to this idea of why Joseph must have been a young man is because back then the title carpenter actually translated to tekton, which meant you worked with wood and with stone. So you were kind of, you were a carpenter but also a mason. So he says the best comparison today would have been a construction worker. Now, in wonderful Ave Maria, we have plenty of construction sites, and so I drive past a couple of them on a regular basis, and I still haven't found the white-haired, rosy-cheeked man that looks like the person that's in the St. Joseph prayer cards or on the stained glass windows. Like, you just don't find that.
So what you're trying to say, sorry to cut you off,
oh, you're fine.
But that St. Joseph has always been portrayed as an older man.
Right.
And that in the readings today, it really discusses why Jesus was a young man.
Yeah.
When, is it betrothed?
Yes.
When he betrothed Mary.
Right.
To be his wife.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So this idea, thank you for clarifying. He wasn't young forever. But during the time of betrothal.
But he wasn't old when he married Mary.
Right. Absolutely. And so I think it's this idea that, even with his work, even with his occupation, it wouldn't make sense for him to be an older man. And why does that matter? Because I think it goes back to the idea, why are we so attracted to a young St. Joseph? There's this attraction that we have, we're almost hardwired to that attraction. Because I think when we think of youthful people, we think people that are rebellious, we think troublemakers, we think constantly challenging the rules of society. And this is what makes St. Joseph different than the rest, but also a cut above the rest, is because we look at him and it's something that we actually long for. That ability to demonstrate purity, chastity, obedience, and love is something that we actually want in our own lives. We want to be youthful, but we also want to be virtuous. And so I think when we look to St. Joseph, when we look to the young St. Joseph and we find that youthful virtue, I think that's something that we want to model in our own lives. So that was my reflection, youthful virtue. What do you got?
Well, my kind of takeaway from this was, thinking of St. Joseph as husband to Mary, and as this father, the earthly father to Jesus, and also as my spiritual father. And we need a role model in this life. Men need a role model. Catholic priests and bishops need a role model. So as a Catholic, I expect priests and bishops to be prayerful, trustworthy, gentle, compassionate, and virtuous.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. But that's what we expect of our priests and bishops. And our priests and bishops, where can they learn those qualities? Well, from St. Joseph. Because St. Joseph was all of that. Mm-hmm. Also, one of my takeaways is what does it mean to be a man and a husband? There's a lot of sacrifices that a man and a husband has to do. But to be like a true man, to be masculine, look to Saint Joseph, because Saint Joseph was a masculine saint. And then, what is it to be like a real man? A lot of people think that real men are supposed to be macho.
Yeah.
And maybe not follow the rules.
Right.
And be a rule breaker. But that's not necessarily so.
Right.
To be a real man, real men are true gentlemen at the service of others. Real men look like Saint Joseph. So what is a real man of today? A real man is supposed to be someone who is gentle, someone who loves, but who's also a protector. And so it's just kind of amazing.
Absolutely.
So Saint Joseph also is he's a protector, so like a shield.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of amazing. So I guess one of my I want to say something for all the guys out there at Ave Maria is, try to be, grow into real men, but use St. Joseph as an example to become that man.
Absolutely. No, that'll help you become a saint in the workplace. Which is definitely what we're trying to form these kids. Be saints in the workplace. Be saints in your school life. Be a man that strives after the model of St. Joseph. So thanks.
See you tomorrow.